occult group Islamic State of Muslims. Now, in case people are wondering why the UN wants to go after grandma and grandpa who want to carry a weapon just to protect themselves, well, it's downright foolish. What they're saying is grandma and grandpa aren't old enough to, or are too old to follow the rules of gun safety. Well, let's put it this way. Some consider me as an elderly person. Some don't. Well, either way you want to put it. And they also want to say this about me. They say I should not even own a gun because I'm military or prior military. Same thing with grandpa and grandma. They don't want grandpa and grandma, those that are on Social Security, to have guns, small guns. Like I said, I would like to go hunting, get a squirrel, get a deer, even get a bear once in a while. That's about it. In other words, live a peaceful life. Live a life of, well, you couldn't say Riley, but you could say a pretty nice life. And to be able to go to a gun show and see if I want to purchase a gun. Or go to a store and see if I could purchase a gun. Maybe I'd like to have something as a collector's piece. Pistols are good collector's pieces because you got Colt, who made pistols from the 1800s. Some still work from 1885. And they're good pieces to have. I own a gun that was built made in the 1920s. It's a pretty good piece. I wouldn't use it because of its age. But it's nice to have. It's nice to see and to display. You can't fire it, and anyways, it's locked up no matter what. Because I don't want some kid coming over here to try and steal it and then use it to commit a crime. But in a lot of cases, we got other people saying, well, we got to find a way to get along with our policing out here too. It's a mess. We got people shooting people. You're always going to have that. You're not going to get around it. But you can do one thing. Get people to say enough is enough. Keep your arms. We're going to arm ourselves. And that's the best answer. Arm yourselves. Arm yourselves to protect yourselves. Don't do like the Hillary Clintons, Obamas, and Secretary of State John Kerry would say, we got to get rid of these guns in order to make lives much safer. You're not going to. People are going to get killed every day. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little scenario here, and it's a real scenario. Did you know that more people die, and more people die crossing the streets, or this is part of the category too, die in automobile accidents caused by those that are texting and driving and talking on their cell phones than a gun does. That's a real statistic, actually. It's more of a scenario, but it's really a good statistic to think about. You actually got a weapon with your own vehicle and your own stupidity by texting and driving or talking on a cell phone or operating a computer. Why don't bureaucrats go to the UN for that? Well, here's the answer to it. They already control the internet. Take a look at Google. It's controlled by liberals and Democrats. Take a look at Twitter. It's controlled by liberals and Democrats. Take a look at MySpace or Instagram, they're all controlled by liberals and Democrats. They're all controlled by the government. That's why. That's part of this thing, too. Why don't bureaucrats go to UN over that? Because it's already controlled. You see it each and every day. Yes, there are times when people listen to my broadcast, and yes, they do make threats to me, which is great. I actually thank you for that. That's great. That's great you make a threat to me over that. Because you don't like it. You don't like what I say. I'm not worried about you. I'm still saying it. It's not going to stop me from saying something that you don't like. Here's the other thing that's really interesting. Hillary Clinton says to take away guns will stop bullying. Well, I hate to say something to you, Hillary Clinton. You are one of the biggest bullies around. So is Mr. Obama, and so is Secretary of State John Kerry. You're bullies. Anytime you want to say, well, we got to control, force, mandate, you're being a bully. You don't like something, so you're going to make yourself into a bully. And you say, well, we got to stop bullying. Well, let's stop you then. That's the real answer. Stop yourself. Stop yourself from being a bully. Stop yourself from doing all that stuff. Live a decent life. A moral life, by the way, Miss Clinton, Mr. Obama, Secretary of State John Kerry. Live a moral life. Live a life of morality. Not this phony life that you want people to do. Live a life of sexual immorality or sexual immorals. That's the whole key right there. When you decide to do those things, you decide to say, well, we have the right to control this stuff. Yes, you can control it if you are the Soviet Union, China, North Korea, Cuba, Vietnam. You can do that. And you notice how you put it. Well, we could even include England. We could include Germany, France, Spain, Netherlands, Italy, all of South America, Mexico, Canada. You see, you can listen to those countries without any Second Amendment in them. And all you get is dictators wanting to rule everything. And like I said, bureaucrats and gun-hating enthusiasts at the United Nations wanting to take away our Second Amendment rights, wanting to say we can't have the right to defend ourselves. This way it brings about peace. I will say this much. Let me refresh your memory about a little bit about history when you prohibit something. In the early 1900s, around 1919 to about 1933, there was this thing called prohibition against alcohol. It didn't stop alcohol from coming in to the United States or to be brewed in the United States. All it did was one thing: make more crime. Al Capone was a victim of that making more crime because he wanted to make money and greed off of prohibition. So Al Capone became a gangster to go against prohibition. So did Bugsy Siegel, I can't remember his name, Max something, but the thing of it is, you had those who went against prohibition. So if you make prohibition against guns and stuff, such as these bureaucrats and gun-hating people, enthusiasts, like to do, such as the Democrats and the liberals, what are you going to do? You're going to provide criminal activity out there. Is that what you want? You're not going to make it any safer because you got all these stupid gun-free zones, and that's where the crimes are being committed, in these gun-free zones. Where there is no gun-free zone, the crime rate is zero. With those gun-free zones, the crime rate is over 160%. I've just read those things. That's why I got those figures. But the thing of it is, the NRA supports the Republican Party. It also supports political groups that believe in using guns, and politicians that believe in using guns and keeping the Second Amendment. And I do believe in keeping the Second Amendment just the way it is. I've said it before, if you want to arm yourself with a semi-automatic weapon or an automatic weapon just to defend yourself, go ahead and do it. That's up to you. That's not up to me. It's up to you. That's the way it should be. Your choice. You should have the right to choose. The freedom and liberty to choose. If you choose to have that automatic weapon, be prepared, my friend. Be prepared to be accountable and to answer for it. And yes, it is accountable and responsible. Responsibility comes a long ways. Of course, no Democrat has responsibility. They don't even have integrity, and they don't want to be held accountable. Every one of them likes that. And the same thing goes for the liberals. You don't like any of that stuff because you hate it. So bureaucrats, gun-hating enthusiasts at the United Nations. You see, they want to take away everything. The first step to control and have a one-world government. And that's what it means. You go to the United Nations in order to bring this a one-world government. That's what they want. They don't want freedom and liberty. They love the UN loves slavery. They love bondage. They love to keep you underneath in full control. At the same time, they'll make up rules and laws that will keep you there. Force you to do this. Here's the one thing that bureaucrats and gun-hating enthusiasts also hate. They hate U.S. Constitution Amendment 1. They hate that. And 3. No one really tackles 3 too much, but they hate it. They even hate the idea of the Fourth Amendment. Because they want to be able to go into your home anytime they want to seize whatever weapons you got. Even if you're just peaceful and to display them. If you want to know what kind of weapons I have, come knocking on my door. Ask me. And if you're carrying a badge, I will say no. But if you're not carrying a badge, I will say maybe. It's up to me. I may even say yes, come on in. Let's sit down and have some coffee, talk about it. Or let's sit down and have some coffee and donuts. We'll talk about it. You see, gun enthusiasts are haters of all types. Well, we're getting close to about 60 seconds left in the episode. And yes, we did mention freedom and liberty. But there is one part of freedom and liberty that we didn't say today. And that's the right to choose where you worship. The U.S. Constitution, Amendment 2, guarantees you the right who you will worship and where you will worship. Freely. That's a pretty powerful guarantee. So if you don't believe in Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, go ahead, look. You got that. You still got the freedom and liberty to do so. Atheists hate that idea, and so do agnostics. But with about 13 seconds, we're going to say this much. May the Lord bless you and keep you.
May the Lord's face shine upon